Welcome to SHOWstudio, day 3 of Milan Fashion Week, and yesterday we were debating Fendi and fur. Today it's Versace and vroom, and I've got a fantastic panel of guests to talk about the Versace allure. So I'm going to ask each and every one of them to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Princess Julia, and should I say what I do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
Well, I am known for my DJing activities, but I'm also editor-at-large at GQ Style, so I've got one eye on the screen watching the action going on, and I'm a music editor at ID magazine as well, amongst other things.
Busy, and we're going to find out more about those in a little while.
I'm Camilla Morton, and I'm a fashion writer.
I'm Victoria Higgs, and I'm fashion editor of GQ Style.
Welcome. So we have got our eye on the monitor, just because we're convinced it is going to start quite quickly, aren't we? We've had the nod from Camilla, who's said they're already wiping down the runway or removing that. There's a little layer, isn't there? Yeah. So, but I'm just going to get each of you to tell me, and of course our audience, a little bit about what you do, what your day involves. So, Princess Julia, tell us. Because you've actually, well, I'll do it. You've done on the catwalk, you've done music for the catwalk, you're actually telling me you were knitting part of the, was it the Sister?
The sibling,
right.
I'm on the knit team.
Right.
I'm very proud of that, actually. And it's a great pleasure to be part of that, on that sort of, you know, very
the sibling knit team
level. Yeah, well, I help with the hand knits every now and again. Yeah, it's like therapy.
I can't cast out. I can only do it if somebody started me off.
Yeah, I have to sit with my mum.
Yeah, I can't.
You can come and join us. We'd love it. We'd love it, and you'd love it as well. It's such good fun.
I ever knitted looked like scrambled eggs, so I don't know whether I would contribute in a good way.
Yeah, you would. Really? Yeah.
Next season then.
Yeah.
So you can add that to your list of
yes,
because you're a wordswoman, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a writer. I started off reviewing the shows as a runner. I was Sean Cunningham's assistant and was gaffer taped around the shows with him. And then I started reviewing the shows for Vogue.com and American magazines. And then I thought, well, there's no point writing about the shows if you don't know how to do it. So I went and assisted at the Galliano studio for a number of years. And then I started writing fashion books.
Great, so insights galore from you, we're expecting. Yeah. And tell us a little bit about your job.
Okay, so I've been at GQ Style since September, so relatively new to the team. But before then I was working at Pony Step magazine, from the beginning of it becoming a biannual print magazine. And so I started assisting the fashion director and then became junior fashion editor, and then I was working on editing the website and doing things like that. And then outside I do odd bits of styling for other publications and for musicians and things like that.
And so what I'm quite interested to get from all of you is how you interact with fashion. What does it mean to each of you? Who wants to have a go?
Even that I interact with it, I'm just sort of, it's part of the world that I'm in. I mean, being in the fashion world is like, it's like in the 30s and 40s when Hollywood and the silver screen was the centre of the universe for fantasy and escapism. Fashion is escapism that's actually a job, and you can live in a dream world and you can create stories and narratives and escape reality, but you can also enhance reality and add a bit of colour to the everyday.
So yours is a kind of intellectual engagement then, not necessarily a kind of practical one, would you say?
I don't think life needs to be practical all the time. I think if you're inspired, and you know, I'm really lucky I have a job that inspires me, and you know, you don't wake up and think I must do a 9-to-5 job, because fashion isn't a 9-to-5 job. It's sort of bounces off friendships and relationships and people that you meet, and it just takes you from one thing to the other. Sorry, I'm still watching the white.
I think it's going to start soon.
Because what happens is when all the people come in with their high heels, when you've got a flat runway with all the stilettos it pierces the runway in the wrong place, and you get all these dents that throw the lights in the wrong part for when the photos come. So they've obviously got a dent there. Oh look, the signs have gone, so that means it literally...
We're getting ready to start. And it looks, we were just saying how tiny it looks.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out where most of the audience...
I think they're behind.
I think there's definitely 2 rooms going on there.
I think there's
second level.
like one room there. I think it's like a layered wedding cake. There are about 3 tiers.
Victoria, I'm going to come to you. So how do you engage with fashion? What does it mean to you?
I think for me, I had a bit of a strange route into fashion because I actually I studied physiology and I started off as a medical writer, and my route into fashion was kind of moving to London and being around the most amazing, inspiring, creative people and kind of involving myself with the nightlife and everything like that. And I kind of became absorbed in it and realised that I needed to become part of it and give something back to it. So it's almost, I don't know, I feel like it's something that I feel like it's a lifestyle. It is for me as well. It's escapism. It's about creating something. It's about creating a narrative and creating another world. And
so you and Osman
practical,
who also studied, didn't he? Sort of began in the
there's
medical
actually
world.
I mean, there's quite a few designers who came from different routes as well.
Didn't he? Armani started medical school first before. It's interesting, it seems to be architects. A lot of architects move into fashion. But it's, I mean, it is a very alluring business and industry to work in, isn't it? So I've known you, Princess Julia, for 30 odd years, haven't I? So and you've had quite a varied career. Has it always been fashion, or people, or energy, or
well, my main interests are sort of like personal style, really. Like I think we sort of come from that sort of era, is the sort of DIY subcultures and all the rest of that old stuff. And so I'm always very sort of drawn to the way people express themselves, whether it is through fashion or art or music, really. And so I sort of see all those sort of things joining up. And for me, like I really love a fashion show because I sort of see those sort of disciplines joining together and sort of creating a moment. So I'm always really excited.
And the moment is what we're all waiting for. Let's get a sense of what you all feel about Versace. Who's a fan?
I love Versace.
Who's on the sidelines?
No, I love Versace.
Okay,
when it's pure Versace, I think.
Which I think this will be.
Yeah, I think from what people are saying, I think this is going to be pure Versace, because I think when Versace is playful, upbeat, fun, it's the best party in town to be at, and I think that sounds like what she's going to be doing today, don't you?
With the theme,
the
name of the show,
which is
funk.
With a V. Because that's the great thing we were saying about Instagram, is we've already had a quick look at the press release, courtesy of
somebody we love.
Absolutely. And she has actually been introducing some of those historical elements, the heritage of the brand, for a whole group of kind of newcomers, really, who love Versace now but don't really know the history.
Yeah, they don't know the history or haven't, they didn't experience it the first time around, so they're discovering it, and it seems really exciting and fresh. And I think, it must be extraordinary when you have such a great heritage to draw on, to keep making it fresh.
Yeah. And of course there'll be many people who've engaged with the brand. We're getting excited now because it's getting dark.
Turn up the music.
But who didn't make any kind of relationship with its founder, Gianni Versace. For them, Donatella is the head designer and always has been. So that in itself, I wonder whether she'll be introducing...
Well, a couple of seasons ago she did the kind of velvet cross collection, which was referencing Gianni's last collection. So.
Here we go. It's a whole new room.
White.
So huge kind of Medusa insignia in the back, the sort of logo, isn't there? And again, she was saying she's channeling that.
It's great they're coming out in pairs,
I love
the
that.
yang of each other.
Yeah, the contrasts.
That PVC is amazing.
And it's beautifully structured so it fits corset like.
You always get a strut with Versace, don't you?
Yeah.
There is that kind of sort of sexual, almost predatory
I think when you
energy.
wear Versace, you get that. It's something about those clothes make you feel like that woman, I think.
So lots of sort of structure and quite strict at the moment, isn't it?
And here we go, look, with
Tartan,
the tartan, the
referencing
vinyl.
Yeah. And what are you making in the music?
It's not what I was expecting, actually.
No.
I was expecting punk, but I guess in the press release she did say that it's about a new era rather than.
And so we know from
referencing
the
past.
release that she was saying she was sort of channeling punk but reinventing it because you can't go back, so sort of making it
feels
into
clean and
something
fresh.
new.
Well, also it's all monotone, you know, it's not referencing the colours and the neons yet, you know, she's looked at the vinyls, but...
That's a sexy number, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a very modern, fresh face. I know Pat and Guido do the hair and makeup, and
Oh, did he?
it's sort
Lovely.
of really nice.
Well, it works quite well, I think, to provide a balance to what is essentially looks like kind of vinyl dresses, rubber style dresses. So it could look a bit kind of bit
And is
retro
that a nail?
gothic.
Is that a nail going through?
I didn't see.
She's doing a nail feature.
Through this.
Oh yeah.
Woohoo.
Okay, yeah.
She's
good.
ditched
Nails
the
in the
safety
ears
pins.
as well.
Yeah, well spotted. You're going in for the details. So we've got the tartan, we've got
Oh, there we
nails,
go. I love
that
we've got straps, lots of straps going through the garments, and then
Lots
sort
of asymmetrics.
That works for me. That works quite well when you suddenly get a splash of bright colour as well, so that it's not all too punky.
And it's a very fresh face casting. They're very young faces.
The models seem to have been chosen also for the length of their legs. They, in this show particularly, they look really elongated, don't they? Or is that just me?
I think Versace.
It's also the.
You're always a goddess if you wear Versace.
Yeah,
Did
definitely.
you see
it's
that
the
last
word.
frock, Vicky?
Yeah, I need that, don't I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Love
really
it.
you.
One sleeve, amazing.
One sleeve and a bit of a nail.
Oh, but I love that jacket.
Yeah.
That's nice. I was interested to see whether she was going to do some fur. There's been a lot of fur going on.
Is that real fur?
That looks like real fur to me.
So sort of
Yellow. That's good. No one does an asymmetric like Versace.
so far, but keeping it quite graphic, isn't it? You know, it's the
Graphic
blacks, yellows,
Perversely was
whites.
strange.
Yeah.
You know, it isn't loads of prints or loads of colours.
Yeah.
It's really strong.
Yeah, and of course
That's great,
the
isn't
sort of animalism
Yeah.
that she's renowned for.
It's quite young, isn't it?
Yeah. Because last season it was all quite tailored and
It's quite floaty.
almost like
and-
soft corseting, and it was all the work was inside. And I think her Versace purists were a little bit.
Oh,
Calmarkey.
Whereas this is exactly what a Versace girl wants.
So you can see elements of that that would immediately translate into the high street, can't
Yeah.
you? You know,
Yeah.
straight away the yellow and black fur.
Yeah, that colour palette.
You know, and the jewellery as well.
distorted animal prints.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's the backbone of it seems to be this kind of very fitted, shiny dress, doesn't it? That keeps coming out over and over again.
I love that last one with the high neck.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
nice.
But it's also a look that you can create yourself. It's quite dependent on the styling, isn't it, to pull it all together. Whereas sometimes you look at some of the tricksy cutting and design that certainly some of the Brits have been doing, and you can't create. You can't. That's not a styling job.
Pieces. This is getting more traditional.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a harness kind of thing that just came out over a t-shirt, which I thought was rather good.
Yeah.
If you couldn't afford the Versace doodah, you could somehow put together
go to a sex shop and get a harness.
Yeah.
I'm quite keen on
And
the
also
harness.
the kind of ripped up vest, you know, that's an easy one to. And the sort of the layering, the animal print.
I mean, they're really glossy fabrics.
But it's what, I mean, there's no surprises here, is there? It's what you expect. Is anybody kind of feeling like, that
it's
is
more of a
Versace
return to form from last season. I think people were surprised by how sort of floaty and sort of bohemian it was. I thought this was more Versace.
Yeah, body harnesses.
Yeah,
that's good. I can see you in that too.
I'm very
this is
into
good.
layering.
That's a great coat.
Yeah.
But in terms of separates and kind of really great tailoring and all of the things that we know that the house does, there's very little actually, because it's quite gimmicky as a collection.
But I think she's reinforcing the message all the way through of the plasticized and the sort of like the gloss to the trousers, the asymmetry, the high neck. I think everything's quite wasted. I think it would hang together.
That's good.
Well.
But this does look like a collection to me where, the mainstay of the women who buy into Versace, because it's slick power dressing, it's sexual, it's predatory, there's not that much for them to go on if they're not into shiny vinyl style fabrics.
True.
I love that. That's very Judy Blame, isn't it?
Yeah.
The sort of lapel full of
trinkets.
Yes, trinkets, precious things.
But also, I think, to slightly answer your question, I think these are such statement dresses. You only need one Versace dress to make a real statement. Like, you wouldn't be forgotten if you wore any of these dresses.
You wouldn't, but then you'd only wear it, that kind of statement dress. You haven't got loads of outings for it.
I don't think the Versace girl worries herself about such practical moments.
No.
No, you could be right, Camilla.
It's definitely a tougher look she's putting onto the red carpet option.
Yeah.
What pop stars do you think will be wearing these frocks? Do you think there'll be some pop
Sort of a Rihanna and a Gaga, isn't it?
Yeah.
That one's quite Kim Kardashian, the last one.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's a key point, isn't it? They are, there's lots of statement dresses, many of them destined for a kind of premiere red carpet music video space.
She always does those sort of frocks, doesn't she, at some point? Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I could look lovely walking down Hackney Road in that.
Oh, yeah. So they're coming out in pairs again.
Ooh.
That's amazing.
That's quite a good tranny look, really.
Yeah. See Jeanette in that.
Beautiful cut as well. Like, it must be quite hard to manipulate that fabric and do that piecing together.
Well, the craft is there.
Yeah.
But I'm not feeling it, personally. I'm feeling like it's very set, stylized, editorial look. And almost as though we might see a completely different collection in the stores, on the rails, because this is the one that does the sultry music video diva You know, the Beyoncés, the Rihannas.
But I also think quite a huge part of her business now is the Versace collection. I think this is her shoot me, advertising, red carpet. This is the megastar collection, and then it's the Versus that is the one that we all hook into. I mean, Christopher Kane did it, and now J.W. Anston's going to go on and do it. And I think that she actually is really clever, that she taps into the sort of like the cool young designers and gives them the platform with Versus. And I think this is to, you know, keep her loyal fan base.
So a nice bit of finale there, where all coming out, and you can see, you know, really monochrome and a bit of bold colour, sort of really solid colour, very little print. We had a little bit of the animal, didn't we?
Little print.
Considering there has been a lot
That's
of
very
print.
Brittany, that red one.
Yeah.
In the past.
Yeah, and a lot of big surface embellishment, isn't there? The sort of Judy Blame, the studs, the...
It's all very contained, isn't it? Sort of neck and boot.
Yeah, which again, you can see the high street really picking up on.
It's a very sexy collection though, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So you three are loving it?
Yeah.
I'm quite enjoying it, yeah.
I think it's so more Versace than it felt last season. Like, it feels like last season for me didn't feel Versace enough, and this feels almost like it's almost like a bit of a palette cleanser to re-educate you on the Versace codes, so that Versus or what she's doing in store and the brands can have the Versace underpinning to everything.
Yeah,
I think it's quite clever to kind of like strip it back, because she actually, for a while, it got a bit sort of crazy bananas, and now I think it does quite a huge business, that she needs to have these sort of commercials.
Well, they're moving into the Middle East, aren't they? So they've just opened a store up in Beirut, I think.
I love her. Oh, she's doing
amazing.
Out.
Yes.
She's doing the power trouser.
Yes. Amazing.
And she's wearing.
Yeah. She's wearing the look.
She's wearing the
That's
look.
quite a commitment,
Love
actually,
that.
isn't it?
Oh, she's walking all the way round.
And she was saying actually that she never wears flat shoes. Maybe she might change into them before she steps into the gym.
Wow.
But otherwise they have no place in her wardrobe.
I'm quite a follower of that idea.
You are?
Yeah.
You won't see Julia in
You won't often see me in a resting shoe.
In a resting shoe. Should we give them a little clap?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Versace. But to carry on with that, so a mannish brogue, not for you then.
Oh no, I would love
I'm not going to make you wear one.
I would love to wear one because I love that look. I really do love it, and but I just feel so diminished without a bit of a heel or something to elevate me.
Yeah,
I know it's my own insecurities really, but you know, if I could get away
it's all about
with
the
it,
height.
feel confident enough to, I would.
I feel completely different in a flat shoe. Sometimes I just have to do it because I've got that kind of day, but I feel like a different person. The height and also it gives you a certain posture.
Do you think the Versace woman is a woman who perhaps doesn't doesn't wear a brogue very often?
No.
No.
A Versace woman is in a pair of high heels that puts her butt on a pedestal.
Yeah.
She's a limousine lady. She's not lunching.
Yeah,
and she
definitely.
only needs to make the odd appearance, and she's like turned it off heads.
Yeah.
And so maybe therein lies the strength of this brand, is that they are crystal clear about what their consumer
it's not about
wants.
practicality. It's about being that powerful, glamorous woman. It's about being restricted and.
And where does pain come into it? Donatella said recently that, you know, if you want comfort, wear your pyjamas. You know, you have to expect some level of discomfort.
True. I think some people find comfort in that discomfort, though.
People find comfort in discomfort.
Definitely. I feel way more comfortable in a pair of really painful high shoes than I feel in a pair of trainers.
Do you?
I think a lot of people feel like that in a certain way.
But
I
not
think the people who wear that kind of, who wear Versace aren't going to feel happy or comfortable wearing.
But does the
jeans and a baggy t-shirt.
mind overcome the pain then? So have you
Maybe, yeah.
used to sort of numb yourself down in order not to feel it?
I'm used to it, don't you, I think?
Do you? I don't know. I speak as one who can't tolerate pain.
Do you think those dresses, they look that uncomfortable? They looked quite comfortable to
They
me.
look, quite
Some of them
stretchy
are a bit
and
trussed up, but they sort of,
But also a good cut.
you know, they evoke some sort of like, you know, make you sort of sachet.
Yeah.
You know, and make an impact. If you wore one of those dresses, you'd make some sort of impact, wouldn't you, in a room?
You so would. No question.
That is a sort of like the Versace 80s power dressing kind of notion that Jani always had, you know, like total sort of glitzy, sort of glamour, sort of way over the top. That's what they're known for, aren't they? They're luxury.
And do you think she was invoking, in a way, that the power of the Liz Hurley dress, that style of dress that makes
I mean, definitely there was elements of that.
She was referencing herself. Like there was elements of the safety pin dress.
There was the slashes.
But they showed the nail.
Yeah.
The nail instead.
And she did it with a nail. And also, you know, I mean, maybe they might not want to remember this, but the David and Victoria Beckham, they turned up to the Versace Bond Street opening in matching leather jackets and trousers, and they were quite similar to the ones today, and she just stripped it down. But also she started showing couture shows again on the Paris schedule, and I think you can see that there are great cuts in the evening wear, because her evening gowns, they do flow, like they've got movement in it. Sometimes the fabric's so heavy and static it doesn't fall behind you, and this one was ruffling to the side, and I think that was actually quite a skillful cut. And I think Versace considers the entrance and the 360 of the body rather than just the flat on, and I think that's something special about her stuff.
Victoria, will these be dresses that you'll be looking to work with in some way?
Definitely. Yeah, and I feel quite inspired by all that. I really enjoy a bit of PVC, a bit of asymmetry.
And how much of your editorial do you actually decide upon when you're watching shows? Do you get a gut feeling where you think that's
There's moments, definitely. I find there's certain shows which do that for a lot of people. Like for me, it's normally Prada.
Yeah.
When there's that moment and she completely changes the game, and you're watching it thinking, this is going to happen in the world of fashion, and I'm going to do this. And I definitely think that's half the excitement of being at a show. It's like feeling that moment and feeling inspired and seeing, you know, imagining how everyone else is going to be inspired as well.
And
Definitely.
so do you feel that you had that sort of moment here?
I feel like I had an inspiring moment. I think.
Did you have a game-changing moment?
Maybe not game-changing. But I think the thing about Versace is that Versace is Versace. That's not their role necessarily within the fashion industry. It's about bringing it back to what Versace is all about, and it's about keeping that role in the industry. That they are that sexy woman. They are the people who do studs and leather, and I think she did that really well.
I think she's a great mentor for, you know, she's a great mentor for youth and young designers. She's a great great mama of punk, or, you know, she's the one.
Yeah, can we just say that a bit more, because that's the new, isn't it?
It's
bunk.
Bunk. You know,
Bunk.
you know, and I think
#.
what's brilliant about her is that she does have her studio open to all of these young designers, and she's obviously very inspired by young designers around her. And I think, you know, when Jani started the label, it was very much embodying the 80s and the Medusas and the sort of like the excess of that time. And I think maybe for her, because it was such a personal thing, she couldn't reference it, but you can see that her studio is starting to lift from the archives and treating it in a way that they understand it and see it. I mean, they didn't see it the first time round, but I think you can see those sort of influences coming through and translating. And I think that she's not a Marc Jacobs or a Prada or a sort of like, she's not a pivot designer, but she's one of these designers that is very relevant, and she's one of these shows that's always very upbeat and very luxury. Like, she would only work in Milan because she is a queen of that city, and she is a, you know, she's a big, empowering, larger-than-life female, and, you know, she wears her heart on her sleeve, and I think that that is what you go to for Versace.
And is this a show that everybody feels that you have to take it in, that you couldn't possibly not be there?
Definitely. I wouldn't ignore a Versace show.
You couldn't miss it. You never know what's going to happen at a Versace show. You might get J-Lo's wedding, you might get 4 supermodels, you might get, you know, it's always something. It's sort of at one of those shows, but also you know that at these shows there must have been stylists weeping for joy thinking of who they could put these clothes in, because these are star maker clothes. I mean, Liz Hurley owes her career to this woman.
Respect where it's due, I think. And what about you? Did you see anything, Julia, that you'd wear?
I really did like some of those evening frocks, and I like that sort of asymmetrical one that I could see you in. But I would like to wear it, really.
You can share it.
It was a kind of high neck number.
Yeah.
And I think it did have a bit of a nail going through it with one arm.
Well, why don't you both do the finale?
Really nice.
Like blonde and dark, black and white.
Yeah, oh my god, that could be us next season.
But no, I thought there were lots of really, you know, I like the harness, there were sort of accessories in there that I quite liked. I wasn't majorly won over with the footwear, I have to say, but you know, that's all right. It went
Don't
with
have to
that
like it
collection.
all.
No.
And I mean, one of the
It's
things
all right.
we've noticed actually is there's less generally accessories. There seems to be less display of the rest of the you know, the kind
world.
Of, of the brand in a way. Do you think that is a good thing, that we just get on with seeing the silhouettes?
Well, I think now because of the internet and because everything's so exposed, they want to send out quite a clean message. I think if you have handbags and this, that and the other, and you know, it all gets a little complicated, whereas before you used to have to like layer it all on and you know, sort of pack for a holiday when you did a show, because you only had one moment to get their attentions. Whereas now, when you go to the shows, you're hassled round resees, and then you have to do appointments, and then you have lookbooks, and then you have this, and then you have that. And there are so many facets to a collection that I would imagine a house like Versace does about 30 collections a year. So you only, this is, you know, it might seem stripped down to us, but that's because there's the accessories, and there's the handbag, then there's the amazing makeup, and then there's
Does that mean then that the job of covering shows and of, you know, if you like, patronising designers and actually making them feel supported, if you're a fashion editor, is harder? You've got a lot of viewing to do.
Yeah, there's a lot to look at. Definitely, and sometimes there's different areas of a brand which are controlled by completely different designers as well. So that makes it a bit more difficult. But I think it's all really important in the whole entirety of the brand, really, the brand image. It's all about all these different elements. And of course Donatella started off with doing the accessories, and then she did Versace, and that was her baby. So I think I'm not sure, but I'm guessing she's probably still quite involved in all of that.
Yeah.
And also, when a designer is advertising within the magazine, do they make it abundantly clear? I know the answer, you know, I'm saying this now, but I want you to just tell us, you know, of just how much coverage they want with their...
It's different, yeah, it's different for different brands, but they all need a certain amount of love for what they give. It's all about an exchange of love.
Did you say they ask for a certain amount of love?
They need a certain amount of love.
They need a certain amount of love. Is that a trade term?
It's about giving and exchanging love.
Yeah. Was that something that you were involved in, Camilla?
I've never give anybody any love, Caryn. No, but I think, you know, they're giving you a slice of their world, and they're there to sort of like seduce you and bring you in part of their world. I think, you know, if they're going to advertise and support your magazine, then you have to support them in return. You know, I think if they invite you to their show, if they invite you to their party and into their world, it'd be a bit rude to trash it. you know, it'd be a bit rude to turn up and be all snotty at a party and say, "I don't like the tea and cakes very much." You know, you have to, you know, I mean, it's not good manners, but it's you know, you have to. I think the thing about shows that I think, and I think this is why I really appreciated working for a designer, is that you go to a show and you go blah, 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 and you write something 5 seconds after you've left. But actually, if you go to work with a designer and you see that the idea, where are we, March, this idea would have originally been conceived in a kernel of an idea back in October, then it would have been researched, then the fabrics would have been sent off, then the buttons would have been tested, then this fabric would have come in, then that fur would have come in, then there would have been the fittings, then there would have been the twirls, then there would have been the, you know, and so many people are invested in it, and it's not that moment in Cinderella where she waves a magic wand and the dress appears out with a pumpkin. There's so much and so many months and so many people involved in it that you do sort of, you feel protective of this little family unit.
No, I think that is an important point, because we just see the front end of it, so we don't see.
You see a swan gliding up. Jean-Paul Gaultier said this to me one time when I was trying to climb over a fence to get backstage, but he said, you see the swan gliding up the runway, but you don't see the legs kicking underneath. And actually, sometimes you can't get in the way of the legs kicking in underneath, but you have to respect that they're there.
Yeah, that's a good point. And on that note, your interaction with designers also is very much sort of behind the scenes, isn't it?
It can be, but then you know, I also do write fashion reports as well. Like this season, I did some for ID Online. And I, you know,
does it influence how you write when you know?
I'm a fan. You know, I'm a fan of fashion and style, and I so understand that whole idea of how it all evolves. You know, that sort of creativity and process, and so like seeing that moment on a catwalk, you know, for 8 minutes or however long it is. It's such a lot of hard work. I mean, we all know that, and I don't know. There's something about the energy of it and everything that just sort of, there is something really magical.
Yeah, it's sort of intoxicating.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Back to your question.
I was loving the answer. You know. But you have answered it, because in a way what you're saying is, because you're engaging behind the scenes, you have a lot more empathy for the whole process.
I mean, I've done various different things. I've done a bit of music for fashion shows, writing about them, being involved in the sort of early stages of things, and even helping Sibling with their knitwear. And you know, I did that back in the 80s as well with Body Map, and I did some for John Galliano actually as well. And John Flett, you know, and all that, you know, I used to sort of sit there knitting samples every now and again. You know, but and also like I can actually stitch as well. So
you're just multi-talented, aren't you? Did you bake those cakes?
No, I'm not very good at cooking really. I don't think. No, but you know, I just enjoy the whole process of it, and then when like, you know, going on photo shoots and things like that as well. So fascinating to actually see, you know, if you see something on the catwalk, then you see something put together by a stylist, and how that can translate into a whole nother story. It's absolutely fascinating, and like how you, Vicky, as a stylist, like choose certain sort of combinations of things, maybe not even the same designers, but just putting things together is like making a whole new look out of you know, you might take the harness and put that on a Mead & Kirchhoff. That could be a look. You know, I mean, I'm just sort of throwing things in the air like that, but that's also another fascinating process.
Well, we're going to wrap up, but I'm just going to ask each of you what you took from that show, what you'll remember when you're sitting at home tonight, or DJing, whatever takes your fancy on Friday night.
Yeah.
Julia?
Oh, well, What will I take home?
Would it be the diva dress there, because you like that with the heels,
I like the
didn't you,
diva
and
dress.
the slashes?
Yeah, I think really the idea of it looking and very sort of signature Versace and very Donatella. You know, actually looked like she would wear all those clothes herself. So I found quite sort of interesting, actually. And I like the way that, I mean, I just sort of, the sort of vision of Donatella, really.
Yeah.
I kind of think she's an amazing lady.
So it's the whole world.
But it's just the
Donna
whole
world that you're loving. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Camilla?
I think most of all for Versace, it's about the attitude. I think the Versace attitude is intoxicating. It's for a very confident and empowering woman, and I think it was the very feminine silhouette that, you know, it was wrapped up in a different way this evening, but there is an unmistakable Versace silhouette, and I think that it was a really confident show.
Definitely. Same. I think it was really classic Versace, but it was modern. Again, I can imagine Donatella wearing all of it. I'd like to wear some of it. I'd like to use lots of it. I think it was a really good show.
Stuff for everyone. I actually liked the studded waistcoat and the studded lapels, which I reckon I could wear with a mannish brogue. So we're all happy campers. Thank you very much, everyone. I love that.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks.